When I started the series, my newest series for Avon, it was very tricky coming up with a title for the series, because if I said it's the Widows Club, it's a little bit downbeat, frankly. And so I remember speaking about it with my editor and a group of people, and they said, well, for your next book in this series, why don't you rename it? And so I thought, all right, well, how do I rename it? So then I came up with Bereaving, Beauties, even though it's not true. Basically, every widow in this group is different. And the way I came up with the entire series idea was I was having lunch with a group of my friends, and one of them who was not there had recently lost her husband. And we went around the table and we said, you know, what would you do if this had happened to you? And out of 8 to 10 women who were there were 8 to 10 different responses. Some, said they'd never recover, and others said they would recover, but they would never remarry. And then others said, well, I think I could get over it, and I'd find somebody else and I'd be perfectly happy. And then others, of course, were really laughing and saying, I'd be actually better. and I thought, honestly, if you have a group of 5 widows, all of them are going to have different stories, and that is the premise behind the series. And while I can't tell you now, but in the next book, in the 3rd book, they will be renamed again. And I suspect that in the last book, which has yet to be written, they'll be again renamed. The first book in the series is called A Dangerous Beauty. And I think for that book, really, it's a story of redemption. All of my books have a little bit of redemption, but that was the ultimate redemption story. And the hero, Luke, an amazing naval commander, comes back, and he's hiding a huge secret, and he has things in his past that he's not proud of. And he's never, because he is so strong and so stiff upper lip, he's never told anybody. And his grandmother, Atta, forms a secret widows club. And he wants nothing to do with this pack of wild crows, is what he calls them. And yet, out of all of these widows, there's one, he doesn't know what to do with her. All of the rest, he can find places for them, he can settle money on them, he can put them away in estates, he can arrange marriages for them. But this one woman, Rosamond, who is a dangerous beauty, he doesn't know what to do with her. And the story of A Dangerous Beauty is him finally coming to terms with his past and finding a solution for this dangerous beauty. The second book in the series, The Kiss, is a story of unrequited love. I had always wanted to explore that theme. And if you can imagine, it's a little bit of love triangle. A woman who has been in love with a man her entire life, practically, since the age of about 7 years old when she first saw him. She's courageous in so many different ways about her life. She runs an estate because she's the steward's daughter and her father is ill. And she is so strong and so capable, and yet she's never had the courage to tell this man that she's in love with him. And then he gets married and he moves away, and she ends up marrying somebody else, and things, eventually fate turns around, and the man she's loved for a lifetime comes back to the estate. And that is the beginning of The Kiss, and she's in a pigsty, and the man that she's been waiting for arrives on the horizon, and yet she still doesn't have the nerve to tell him. And it takes this book and exploring this theme of unrequited love. And the reason I chose that theme is that it's a universal theme. I think most people at some point in their lives will experience unrequited love. And how do you handle it? And so that's the premise behind The Kiss. The third book in the series, which is entitled Love with the Perfect Scoundrel, is finally the story of Grace Sheffield, the Countess of Sheffield. And by the time the first 2 books come and go, she really deserves her happily ever after. And so I had also, when I started this book, I had wanted to find a story which I'd never done before, which is putting the two people, the hero and the heroine, in a place where they could not escape, essentially caging them together. And I thought that this would be the perfect story because Grace is such a good person at heart, and she's had so much heartache in her life that she's really running away in a lot of ways. And how do you get someone who's running away to force them to dig deep within themselves to find out who they really are? And the way to do it is to put her in a cage and force her to do it. And so the very first page of the story is she's caught in a blizzard, and the hero finds her. And so it's a very intense love story, the beginning of the book, for a long, good portion of the book, before they're let loose, and then they have to determine whether or not both of them are going to go down this new path in life that they have seen when they were in a cage together, or whether or not they're going to revert back to their former ways.